addiction of religion. Secularization supplanted religion. Secularization has taken hold to a high degree, though its dominant varies in different regions and cultural spheres. I asked the Foreign Ministry whether young people take a religion here, and he says many young people pursue religion, but in Korea, many young people leave religion. The prime reasons behind this are the development of scientific thinking and historical thinking. Scientific thinking poses challenges not only for Christianity, but for all religions that claim to know truth beyond empirical reason. As you said, absolute truth, there are post. So modern people wouldn't agree. What real struck a blow to the role of religion, no less than scientific thinking, were the new development in historical thinking. According to the new trends in historical thinking, all things that exist in the world, all the products of civilization, all systems and philosophies developed by humans, including religion, are simply the creation of people who lived in a certain place and time. As religion gives way to science and to historical and cultural relativism, the harmful sequences of our materialistic civilization intensify every day. As the role of religion is reduced, materialism becomes more solidly established, and we see a radical increase in social maladies such as self-centeredness, consumerism, hedonism, and loss of identity. I skip over. At the beginning of my presentation, I said that the stature and function of religion has been diminished because scientific thinking and changes in historical thinking. It is often said that one must arise by stepping on the ground from where one fell. Religious leaders should face the current reality straightforward and actively search for the alternatives based on honest dialogue with the scientist. Of course, there may be some skepticism about whether ancient religious wisdom and contemporary science can engage in honest dialogue. However, we can skillfully engage in dialogue on three levels. First, they discuss certain facts of existence and how these facts are meaningful in terms of enhancing human happiness. For example, a burst of anger leaves us unhappy. Everyone agrees. This is a fact that can be denied neither by scientists nor by religious people. Then both parties do research, sharing religious wisdom and scientific analysis about this fact. Second, regarding the truth of mind and the phenomena of life, Buddhism has accumulated for thousands of years teachings on the mind and life, as well as the experience in meditation. Because recently, contemporary neuroscience and cognitive psychology have produced noteworthy research results. Buddhism and science can now be involved in more contemporary dialogues than before. Given that mental activities rise based on brain function, neuroscientists can prove that certain mental activities like kindness and love can expand prefrontal cortex. Third, belief system, including religious experiences and metaphysical phenomena such as a cycle existence reincarnation, Buddha nature, enlightenment, and spiritual dimension can only be dealt with when dialogue on the or forward-mentioned two levels has been successful. In particular, in transition from scientific dialogue to religious and individual experience become the object of research. And then scientists and religious people must strive together to acknowledge diverse perspectives and learn from each other. When scientists have religious experience of their own and religious people have the willingness to accept scientific facts, meaningful dialogue can begin. Religious leaders and scholars have also proposed various ways to overcome current crises. They say we should cultivate consciousness of coexistence, sharing, and empathy. Based on compassion and love, we must expand historical thinking and engage in active dialogue. As the world is interconnected by causes and conditions and their outcomes, we must recognize that we should relate to and love each other with genuine consideration. The Korean monk Bob Moon communicates actively with the general public through podcast, and he has proposed a new model for future society based on practice of non-duality, a concept he promotes in his publication, Peace in Mind, Social Application of Compassion. He says the optimum strategy to overcome our crisis is to establish a compassionate world. The issue at hand is how we can establish a compassionate world in the midst of the extreme selfishness we see proliferating in our current society. I think this is a profound task that world religious leaders should resolve together. I hope our discussion session produces in-depth exploration and promising alternatives. Thank you for your listening. Thank you.
Kamsamita Venerable Misan, thank you so much. Continuing the spirit, we turn now to Rabbi Nama Kelman.
So good afternoon and welcome to all our visitors, who I hope are not too jet-lagged or from your long journey here. It's not just a journey of a flight, but a journey of many generations, many stories that brought us here together this afternoon. I want to thank the organizers for inviting me, to giving me some time to reflect with some thoughts of my tradition, my Jewish tradition. And I look around the room and I think I see the impossible. I know that a mere 2 generations ago, this was impossible, this gathering. Men, women, religious leaders from across a wide spectrum of beliefs, and that we are sitting together and hearing each other's stories. And we've heard, and I will be the one to do this as well, we've heard what is noble about so many of our traditions, what we share in so many of traditions. And I hope we also have the courage to talk about what is sometimes not noble in our traditions. I hope we have the faith and courage to hear each other's suffering, because I believe that religions are a source, a revolutionary source for change, for growth, for self-development. We must be able to hear the suffering of one another as well as the hopes of one another. We must be able to hear the multiple narratives, the different stories, the different ways of reading human existence. And yes, find the points of meaning, but also understand that sometimes our religions can be dangerous, can be used as a force for suffering, for evil in the world. We can all agree that religion is a force for good, for love, for healing, for renewal, for a sense of abundance, for gratitude, for freedom, for justice, and I add again, for change. I wouldn't be sitting here as a woman rabbi unless my own religion had the seeds of change and renewal that said women disenfranchised for centuries, the silent voice in so many of our religions, the silent voice finally has emerged in the 20th century and 21st century as no longer silent, a major voice, an important voice, and I know this is true of all religions. I wait eagerly to hear the wisdom of women from so many religions that have been silenced, and perhaps in some places have developed a rich culture of their own, a religion of hope and sharing and love, but we just haven't heard their stories. So I believe that religions are a source of making the impossible possible. That unless we believe that, we will never change, and we will cling to traditions that reinforce certain structures, discrimination, and injustice in the world. And I know this from the first passages, the first sentences of our Torah, of our scripture, that we are both a revolutionary religion and an evolutionary religion. How else could our story of creation, which we will celebrate in the coming weeks in the Jewish religion, when we welcome the new year, we welcome the idea of creation. We welcome the idea of surprise, of renewal. And in our creation story, and there are two creation stories in our scripture, which again tells me that we must listen to the multiple voices. In our first creation story, or version, however you choose to read it, it's a story of abundance. It's a story of good. It's almost an artist. God is an artist in a studio, creating a beautiful world, a world of harmony, a world where God actually says, you know, this is good. I think that was one of the first times Jews actually said, you know, this is good. I mean, since then it's been, oi, oi. But actually, this is good. And when we say good in Hebrew, tov, it's not good or bad. Good as abundance. Good as goodness is to share. This is good because this is going to spread and spread joy and spread meaning. So our first story of creation is about goodness and good, and quality and equality. And in fact, we don't know where this story takes place. It could be anywhere. There are no flags. There are no boundaries. There are no national anthems. It is a place, there are no races in this story. There are no weight or sizes to the human beings in this story. And our tradition, in my mind, is telling us that this is a perfected and ideal, of course, version of creation, where we're not judged by nation, by gender, by color, by ethnicity. And in fact, this is where religion gets into trouble, when it fuses nationality, when it fuses nationality and discrimination and messianism, when it's a force, as we've heard, for ultimate truths. And this first version is a force, I believe, for shared truth, for shared environment, for a shared world. And there's a Jewish argument, is our creations, what is the height of creation? What is the crown of creation? Is the crown of our creation story the creation of human beings? And as Rabbi Dr. Sperber said, in the Jewish version of creation, man and women are created in the image of God. And that means we are charged to look for the image of God in every single creation on this earth. So is that the crown of creation? That we look and seek the God, the holy spark in the other? Or is the crown of creation when God stopped working, the Shabbat, the Sabbath? And I know this conference will talk about how we treat our environment. But again, already in our first passages of our creation story, God stops and God makes space for us. God makes space for us to cherish what God has created and to protect it and to share it. So that's the good news, our first version. And then comes the second version, where suddenly there are flags and there are borders and man is superior to woman, or let's put the balance of power has shifted. And perhaps that's a more realistic version of our world, with its frailty, with its cruelties, with its suffering. But our tradition asks us always to hold these two versions together, and perhaps use the Sabbath to get closer to the ultimate, the first version of a world of this is good, this can be shared, this can be fixed, this can be changed. So I asked us also to be bold and ask, what is different about our generation? What is different about our story? Not just what is the same. And how can we challenge each other to think in ways we couldn't have thought of before? And I read some of these passages, actually, I mentioned before, from the first ever woman's commentary on the Bible. This took 15 years to put together, hundreds of women sharing their ideas of our scripture. And again, the expansion, the growth, the century of wisdoms that now, of women's wisdoms that now appear, that's now additional voice in our tradition. So sometimes I think that the second version of our creation story will keep us pessimistic about our future. So I sometimes think like a pessimist, but I believe my Jewishness asks me to act as an optimist, because if there are two pillars of our Jewish story, it is the pillar of creation, which I've been talking about, and also the pillar of the exodus from Egypt, the idea that even though we were enslaved, God freed us. God acted in history and liberated us. So we are a force for liberation, we are a force for freedom, we are a force for justice. And it is my hope that in an era where we all bemoan the loss of the message of religion, where we see our next generation questioning the role of religion and trying to understand what tradition might mean for them. I think young people, and I think as we face more and more complicated and harder realities, that we, who can talk to one another, who know that religion is a force of compassion and justice, must share this message and must teach the multiple stories that make us the human beings that we are in the world. Thank you.
That was just absolutely refreshing. I don't know about you all. I think we should just continue and finish this session, then take a break, and then we continue the next part, because the conversation is so enriching. I hate to break it up right now. So, Abbot Shinba from the Foguan Shan, please.
Uh, 主席，还有各位代表，大家好。
Good afternoon to you all, and good afternoon to Mr. Bawajem and all the distinguished guests. Okay, sure.
非常感谢此次会议的邀请，感到非常荣幸。
And thank you very much and to invite me to come here, and this is my honor and to be together and have a meeting like this.
相信大家对和平都知道，跟我们息息相关。
And as we know, peace is very important to us, and peace is actually just like an egg, and something that we cannot live without, and even for a second.
和平像空气一样，分分秒秒都不能缺少。所以现在 世界互动频繁的关系来说，更显得重要。
And we, as a modern people, become more and more connected with one another and each other, and peace has become all the more important.
佛光山的开山星云大师呢，在世界佛光会的主题演说里面，曾经讲过同体与共生、尊重与包容、平等与和平的议题。
And my spiritual guide and the master and the founder of the Foguangshan Monastery Order, Venerable Master Xing Yun, he has one keynote address for the Buddha's Light International Association, program that the themes of coexistence, respect and tolerance, equality and peace, all are important revelations for today's world.
星云大师主张宗教融合，经常邀请其他宗教代表一起为世界和平祈福。
So, Venerable Master Xing Yun advocates religious fusion, frequently inviting leaders of various faiths to join in prayer for world peace.
星云大师他提倡五和的思想，
He also advocates the five harmonies idea.
所以以下呢就以五和的思想来跟大家共勉。
As the Buddhist saying goes, a monastery without the issues is a prosperous one. This means that people need to live harmonies for the monastery to be free of the troubles. So I would like to share with the five harmonies idea with you all.
第一自心合业，是自心合业，人是世界的主人，心是人的主宰。当我们的心能够清净、真诚、坦白，能扩大新的世界，能在心里拥有他人，拥有社会，那么无论是看人看事，心里自然能够和悦。
So the first one, as for the inner harmony, this is one of the five harmonies idea. We all know that it is mind over the matter, and that the mind controls the body. If we have maintained a mind of purity, sincerity, and honesty, that we can broaden our horizons to embrace others, society, and the Buddhist teaching. As such, no matter where we are engaging with people or dealing with matters, we are able to remain joyful and delight.
第二，家庭和顺。一个家庭里想要父慈子孝、兄友弟恭、夫唱妇随，唯有彼此互相了解、体谅、尊重、包容。所谓家人一条心，即使是泥土，也能够变成黄金。
Secondly, as for the family harmony, if one wishes to have peaceful relations between parents and children, husband and wife, or between siblings, then there needs to be mutual understanding, respect, and tolerance. As the Chinese saying goes, when family members unite in mind, even third become gold.
第三，人我和敬，与人相处，大家要能和气尊重，互相帮助，体贴谅解，彼此之间不对立、不冲突，凡事往好处想，记得别人的优点，那么我们人我之间就能相互和敬。
And thirdly, as for interpersonal harmony, one should be polite, caring, understanding, and respectful, and render our help whenever needed. We could perhaps also avoid confrontations and conflict by being forgiving and actively seeking out the good in people. By doing so, we can maintain harmony in our interpersonal relationships.
第四，社会和谐。社会是由很多不同族群所组成，各有不同的成长背景、生活环境及不同的诉求。在很多的不同里面，要让社会和谐，必须要靠彼此尊重、互助、友好，互相意愿真诚的交流、对话，才能够维系社会的和谐。
As for the social harmony, we may be reminded that society is a combination of various ethnic groups, and each group has own history, culture, and custom and aspirations. Amidst the myriad differences, we can work towards harmony by being respectful, friendly, and helpful towards one another, and be willing to engage in sincere dialogue and exchange.
第五，世界和平。世间最怕的就是彼此对立。家庭里夫妻、兄友、兄弟姐妹对立，感情怎么会好呢？国家种族对立，问题更不能容易解决。如果每个国家都能够讲信崇德，以慈悲喜舍之心包容异己，自然战争侵略事件不会再发生。愿意以无我的精神对待其他国家民主，世界就能够和平共存。
So, lastly, as for the world harmony, the one thing that may undermine it is opposition. Opposition between spouses or siblings is not conducive of a loving family. Opposition between nations or any groups leads, of course, to unrelenting issues on a global scale. However, if every nation is willing to embrace trust and morality and of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, act magnanimously towards those who differ, that we can prevent the cruelty and aggressions that war brings to humankind. If we can treat others with a selfless attitude, that we can harmoniously coexist.
所谓和平，是我先去跟别人和平，不是要求别人来跟我和平。凡是要求别人先做，比较不容易，应该先从自己做起，主动释出善意，有善因才有善果。因此，人与人之间，只要不执着这个我的观念，就能达到和平。基本上，战争与和平都在人为。如果大家的嗔心不停止，一直想要用武力去征服别人，就无法达到和平的目标。
So the so-called peace is when we take this initiative to be on good terms with others. It is not an expectation we place on others. Change is easiest when it starts from oneself, and as such, only by proactively extending our goodwill to others will good results come to fruition. Only when we drop attachment to the I can peace be realized. So we can say that detachment or the-I-ment. The-I-ment, yes. In simple terms, war and peace are both the creation of human beings. If we do not raise our enmity towards others, and if we persist with using force to conquer others, that we will never realize the universal idea of peace.
星云大师所提倡的五和，是从小扩大 先从自我做起，能自心合悦之后，再慢慢扩大到家庭，就能够家庭和顺，进而扩及到社会，在与人相处上人我和敬，自然就能够社会和谐，甚至逐渐达到世界和平的目标。谢谢。
So the concept of 5 harmonies, which is humbly bring forth by Venerable Master Hsing Yun, begins from oneself. When we achieve inner harmony, we may then extend this harmony to our families, to our interpersonal harmonies, relationships, to society, and ultimately to the world. So the power is in our hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abbot Shinva. One thing which we are thinking is, please, all of you who have your texts, we do need them, because they'll be using them for a publication. So think of it if you want to give now or later you want to revise, amend, incorporate your remarks, and then send them. So just keep that in mind. With that, may I request Rabbi Avi Gisa.
Thank you. As the last speaker, I think, in this session, one more, I'm sorry. So my mission is to be short. Judaism is also very practically, so I will try. We heard a lot and we shared a lot about ideas and missions, and we found out how much we have in common, and it's so important in this age, in this era. For example, in this era we challenge always the culture of screens. You know, we say that babies are born in this world with the iPhone, the cellular phone in their hands. And the role, two of them, yes. And the mission of educators and rabbis and leaders in this age is to challenge and to find out ways how to bring them out of the screens to be a human being with relationships, with friendship, with relationship with the society, with friends. You know, I teaching now parents that the most important place in the community is the basketball, field, because let them go out. In past, we kept our children inside. Don't go out, because out there is dangers. Be at home. Now, to be at home is not a good thing, because at home, all the world is inside his computer, and this is a big challenge for educators in this time. So I believe that we have many ways in this common fight or war against the screens. But I want to add one comment, because, you know, all the religious are educated to honesty, to friendship, to tolerance. I think I can add, and maybe you will tell me that you have it in yourself, in your own religious. I think I have to add in Judaism the most important stage, that free will takes the place. And I think that you can speak a lot about tolerance, and you can be tolerant as good manners. You can be tolerant as practically it's good to the society. But if to be tolerant is not only good for life. It's also a mission from God. Why? Because each person is unique. No one is like you. Also, a basic way to educate and to grow children. And we have a nice story, a short story, that when a person will come in his time before God after his life, God will not ask him, why didn't you behave like, the big leader, the chief rabbi, or like Moses or Abraham and Isaac and Jacob? No, he will ask him, why weren't you yourself? You are so unique. I didn't create anybody like you in the world, in all the history. So be yourself. And how can a person to be himself, not to be under force or influence of others? We use the free will as the most important value in life. Because if there is no free will, so we are robots, we are electronical robots. And what was the will of God in this creation? So we need to be tolerant and to respect each will, each choice of any person, because we admire free will. And this is the skill that in this place we are similar to God. In this place where the image of God, God can decide and can act in his own will. A person in the image of God has the same privilege. And if you respect this privilege as a gift from God, so tolerance is one basic value in your religion. And this is one comment. I hope that we will enrich each other here in our sessions, and today and tomorrow we will have a lot of new ideas and ways of thinking and points of view to repair the world from all his problems. With God's help. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Gisa. We are now almost at the end of this marathon session. We will have, after our concluding speaker, who is the Most Venerable Asher Nyanisara, we will have a break. And after that, the opportunity for those who have not been able to contribute yet to be able to make their contributions and to be able to pick up and respond to some of those that we have already heard. And I'm sure that everybody who has been invited has been invited because she or he is not only, as Rabbi Gisa said, a world in him and herself, but also is a particularly appreciated individual for their own contribution and their own words. So we look forward to hearing from all of you. But before we break for the necessary coffee break to get our energies back, or tea break, or whatever, it is my pleasure to call on Venerable Asher Nyanisara for your closing words for this session.
.26. Yes. Almost good evening. In my speech, I put a title, Good Morning. Good you say the good night. I am very glad, very happy to participate in this holy conference, celebrating at holy city of Israel. The world today is full of chaos, full of crime, full of mystery, full of evil, and full of violence. The nations are arming themselves to their teeth. Armed races among great countries are most frightening, and the weapons they are using are highly destructive that the people are living insecure their life. The historic pages of the world history have been marred by many atrocity, cruel war, root cause of which is an evil mind that generated unpleasant situation and miserable event. The starting point of the miserable event is selfishness, thought of egocentric human world. The source of competition and conflict is a thought of jealousy or unhappiness over others' progress and success. Today, I'm very pleased to share one of the salient teachings of the Buddhas over the power of mind, which is largely instrumental in establishing individual peace. This plays a very powerful stepping stone to the promotion of world peace and stability. We human beings are mysterious beings with inconceivable potentiality. Noble characteristic and criminal tendency are latent within us. These may rise up to the surface of our life at any time unexpectedly without using strength and power. These potentialities and tendencies are dominant within us in various degrees. Within the powerful complex human mind, we find a treasure box of virtue and wisdom. Then we find a rubbish sheet of the wickedness and corruption. By developing these respective characteristics, we may become either a blessing or curse to humanity. We human beings are considered consisted of the both mind and matter. One of the Buddha's message in Buddhist scripture, mind is a foreigner, mind is a chief of the life, mind is a master of man, mind moves the human life, mind makes happiness and suffering. Mind creates the beauty and ugliness. Therefore, human beings are architects of their own life. Thus, in order to create our beautiful life or beautiful world or peaceful world, we must mold our mind to be beautiful and peaceful first. My dear religious brothers, ladies and gentlemen, every religion calls upon their followers to live a moral way of life, to attain mastery over the mind, to cultivate the purity of the heart, whether it is the Bible or Quran or Veda or Tripitaka, all scripture call for peace, amity, harmony. From Jinnah to Jesus, all great founders of all religions have emphasized it with a virtue of tolerance and non-violence. But the world we live in is often driven by religious conflict and sectarian strife, even the war of a brutal fighting, because we usually attach importance only to the outer shell of religion. We overlook the universal truth or inner core of respective religion. The result is a lack of love, the lack of compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, and self-understanding in the mind. When there is no peace within individual, then there could not be peace in the world. Violence and peace can never be coexist. The only way to achieve inner peace is insight meditation. This is non-sectarianism, but scientific research-oriented technique of the self-observation, self-realization of the truth. Whenever negative emotions arise in human mind, such as craving, jealousy, hatred, anger, ignorance, and so on, there is a negative spirit of a trigger. These negative spirit trigger unpleasant sensation within our body. On the other hand, positive state sometimes arise in the mind, such as tolerance, love, compassion, and sympathetic joy and wisdom. At the time, mental action creates happiness and pleasant sensation within the body. Every moment to moment, the mind generates hate or love, compassion, cruelty, sympathy, jealousy, positivity or negativity, pleasantness or unpleasantness, selfishness or selflessness. So, entire mind is flooded with a pleasant sensation or unpleasant sensation all the time. Insight meditation reveals the mental action proceed every physical and vocal action, determining whether the action will be wholesome or unwholesome. That is why we must find practical method to create pure mind and a peaceful mind. My dear religious brothers and ladies and gentlemen, the practice of insight meditation can be used for keeping balanced mind, sound health. By exercising insight meditation, everyone can remove all mental disease of negativity. We can achieve the balance of the mind. The balanced mind will make unbalanced world to be balanced. Stable mind will make unstable world to be stable. Peaceful mind will make the violent world to be peaceful. People of any faith can practice such insight meditation without discrimination of the caste, color, and creed. At the same time, they may follow their own religion and tradition in peace and harmony. There is no need for combustion of a religion. A common source of tension, conflicts that create a negativity only. Therefore, combustion is only for changing negative mind to the positive mind. As an observer, one will find a society to live in peace, harmony, and it is a natural setting. My dear brothers and sisters, today in the world, we see clearly various degrees of spiritual pollution, like discontentment, dissatisfaction, disagreement, argument, demonstration, strike, violence, invasion, aggressiveness, tension, etc. These spiritual pollutions are always creating bad consequences to the human society and human environment. My dear religious brothers and sisters, in my conclusion, people are searching for a place of peace, place of tranquility, place of stability. However, it cannot be found in this materialistic and egocentric world. So, let us change our mind from negativity to positivity, removing such pollutants of negativity while seeking for variance and selfishness that promote peace and harmony among human society, as well as a balanced mind, healthy relationship between the human society. It is a natural environment. This is what all human beings have to practice for individual and world peace. May all beings be free from aversion. May all beings be happy. May the peace and harmony prevail in every corner of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before we go into the break, I think the people who haven't spoken, if there's some contributions, we'd like to open it up for brief statements, and then we'll take the coffee break so that we can go to the concluding session for today. So whoever would like to take the floor, I've seen some very active body language during all these presentations, the rich presentations. So who wishes to speak? They all want to hold a peace, they want coffee. Is anybody? No? Just Acharya ji.
I was listening and I was thinking, all of us says that aware men are speaking. बुद्ध पुरुष बोल रहे हैं. Not a small in limitations we are speaking, but we are speaking for all humanity, for all shastras, granthas from scriptures. And somebody will ask us, is it divine thinking you have? But the world is not able to learn divinity. It may be question for us. When there is a sun, why there is darkness? If this type of religious person on the earth, why there is sorrow, equality is not, so pain is there. They have lakhs and lakhs people have no disease, no health. So there are so many questions. And those questions, these like good people are on this earth. Why there is darkness? So I think we have to solve these problems.
Okay, please solve it. You did. You put on the mic.
Okay. So thank you so much for all the wisdom that we've heard so far. I just wanted one small idea. I heard from the Korean gentleman that young people's alienation, perhaps, from religion. As a professor in a small liberal arts college in the States, I have the opportunity to engage with these young people that you made reference to. And although they are uncomfortable, some of them are uncomfortable with identifying themselves with religion, almost all of them identify themselves as spiritual rather than religious. And I really think that our young people are as spiritual as our older. In fact, they're seeking answers, and it really is very important. It's really our task as educators as well as religious leaders to address our young people in a way that can really fully communicate to them the wisdom of the past and translating these wisdoms into their reality, contextualizing them. And to that effect, I really want to echo the importance that is taking place, some of the changes that Rabbi Naama mentioned in terms of women's progress that we've made not in every tradition and not every segment of each tradition, but the progress that is made for example, in Jainism and in the liberal segments of Judaism as well as in Christianity, to the progress we've made, but the need to embrace women as equal participants, as subjects that are as spiritually capable as our male counterparts. So these are a couple of points that echo in my mind, so thank you.
Thank you. Itamar, you want to say anything? I know you want the mic? Take the mic.
If you have invited me so kindly, so I'll, with your beg your permission to say a few words. I'm very excited about this event. I think it's an important event, and I think it has much potential. I'm not a religious leader, I'm coming from academia, and that's why I was hesitating whether I should express my voice, because I feel that the religious voice is more important than the academic voice. But my own thrust is my dream is to articulate something called Asian ethics. That would be the title of what I actually aspire to do, the utopia. And I've been working in that field of comparative religion, comparative theology for years, and Master Nizam knows me from Oxford. Although you were in the Oriental Studies, I was in the theology faculty at the same time. And the idea is to build bridges between those Asian religions, and I'm considering Judaism also to be an Asian religion, although it's a bridge between East and West, and building bridges in a deep way, in a way which will highlight universal ethics, if you like. So I'm not saying it lightly that all religions are one, it's all the same. I don't think so. I don't think that all religions are the same, and all religions, I'm not thinking it cheaply. It's a hard project. It requires much work to actually study each and every religion on its own premises and underlying assumptions, and see how it's built. But we made some progress. We're doing some work on Hindu-Jewish studies, trying to bring together Hinduism and Judaism, and we have a volume called Dharma and Halakha on the way. And I'm just just decided today to dedicate it to Professor Sperber in this conference, so we're very happy and honored he's honoring us. And the way I see it is that there's a deep link between Judaism, which is the origin of halakha or law, and the Dharma traditions. Dharma traditions, I mean Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. Now you may ask, what about East Asian religions? What about Confucianism? And what about Taoism? And they also see deep links, which I could elaborate, but I won't take it too much here. But I also see deep links there. So I won't speak too much because there's a coffee break on the way. But this is my own inspirational project in my heart, is to build these bridges and lead these religions in a way which will highlight these common ethics, and together try to form something which very vaguely I would call an Asian conception of ethics or Asian ethics. But stop here and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this has been a very enriching opening session, especially following the very excellent meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister and before that the President. Especially the Prime Minister really gave the mandate and asked that this relationship be further deepened and have this more annually, regularly. So I think we have to find ways by the end of tomorrow to come up with a clear plan and hopefully help strengthen the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the American Jewish Committee's endeavors to get the commitment from the government. Because if at a government level you have the commitment, I feel that this conference has a unique ability, especially seeing Most Venerable Shu Chang here, Swami Giri here, and from Korea and South Korea. Each of you have access to your governments. I know Venerable Ashim Sara is very close with this government. So these has the potential to take it to the governmental level and have this relationship of Asia and Israel be deepened further. So with that, please have a 15-minute coffee break, and then we come back for a concluding session for today. Thank you. Toda.